Hey everybody. I love my camera. Sorry about this back and forth shit. Here we go. Gotta get my ass up more firmly on the bed. I'm having the grand bitch mother of all hot flashes right now. I mean, I can't tell if it's because it's 90 some fucking odd degrees out there right now, or if it's just that I'm completely stressed out. I don't know. I can't tell. But I can tell you this, I'm pouring sweat. So, you know, if watching a pissed off middle-aged old fat lady sweat bullets is not your thing, just click on over. But if it is your thing, I have stuff to show you. I am I'm at that end of your tether spot today, and I needed to do something to take my mind off it. Yesterday I did something to take my mind off it. I called up my buddy Tom after I did all the banking. I said, hey dude, you want to go to, you know, Walmart and Dollar Tree with me? And you know, he needed to break away, so I grabbed him and we drove through Sonic and got a couple of cranberry slushes on their half price time frame, and picked up mail, went to Dollar Tree where I filmed the coolest video. We had the greatest time. It was really fun, lots of funny, you know, quips for y'all to laugh at. Except for that, the damn thing was over 2 gigabytes when I was done. I forgot to, you know, turn the phone camera off and then back on so that you have a selection of small ones to upload. I did it all in one shot, which is, you know, the way I am. And so so I couldn't cut it up, I couldn't edit it, it was awful. So, but I wanted to show you a few of the things that I picked up before we go any further. There's not many. First of all, I picked up an e.l.f. foundation brush, which is really kind of funny because here it is summer. I don't wear foundation from now until the first cold snap. I can't. I put it on and I've rubbed or sweated it off within 10 minutes, so it makes no sense. But for $1 to have a nice clean foundation brush to start next season off with, that's cool. Another thing I got, I really like these things. These are little loose eyeshadow glitter dealies, and the neat thing about them, you open them up like this, and they have this little dealie here. You pull that out and you've got a little brush with some glitter stuff on it. So I'm going to stick it on my hand, and I'm going to put this back in here and do that. I got this lovely purple, and then I got a pink as well. I'm going to swatch a little bit of that next to the purple. And here's the neatest thing about it. Okay. Can you even see it? Oh, you can barely see it. You can barely just see a little bit of shine. What's so cool about this is if you've just maybe primed your eyelids, or maybe not even put anything on it but moisturizer, or, you know, tinted moisturizer or whatever, and then you use a little bit of this, it's a way to put a gleamy thing on your eye without having eyeshadow that settles in creases and stuff. So it's so light that it doesn't do that crepey, awful thing that glittery eyeshadows and shimmery eyeshadows can do in old lady eye skin. So it's really kind of neat and refreshing, and I thought, how neat, just a little tiny itty bit of color. I'm not wearing it now, but I thought that's cool for summer. This I can wear and get away with. Another thing I got that I probably won't wear much, but I just loved the color scheme, is this LA Colors Orchid. I don't know why they call it Orchid, but look at the great, oh shoot, you can't see it. Oh, well duh, I got to open the damn plastic thing. I'm an idiot. Look at the great colors. A wonderful pink and a bronzy vanilla color, and then a bronzy toasty kind of color. And I loved it so much. My mouth sort of watered when I saw it, and I got it home and I'm swatching it out, and it's like, well duh, no wonder my mouth watered. The damn thing looks like a Neapolitan ice cream sandwich. Yeah, there you go. It's the Food Association. I'm spitting. God. Okay, I wipe it on my shirt. Yeah, nothing like being real on YouTube, huh? Okay, so that was cool. I'm loving it. Don't know if I'll use it. Okay, here is the neatest thing. So I'm in the makeup section and I spy these iPad thingies. iPads, yeah, iPads. And this one is vitamin C, you know, and you do exactly what it shows. You open up one of those and stick them on there. That's cool. Okay, it's got water, glycerin, vitamin C, witch hazel, 2-bromo, 2-nitropropane 3-diol, which is nothing more than a preservative, carbomer, another preservative, a kind of a root extract I've never heard of that's popular in cosmetics now, and then polysorbate 20 and disodium EDTA, both preservatives. Just like Abigail said, all this shit is basically water, glycerin, sometime in oil, some kind of fragrance or some added in botanical, and a bunch of preservatives. You know, she was absolutely right, is right, and I knew she was right, but anyway, I thought it was funny, so I bought it. Here is the coolest thing. Okay, I got the same thing here, right? Okay, revitalizing iPads. Okay, that's cool. I turn it over and I read the ingredients. It has water, glycerin, fish plasma protein, witch hazel, a bunch of preservatives, and that Lithlospermium erythroblabium root extract. Okay, like the other one. But I'm like, fish plasma protein, what the hell? So I look it up, and it's some popular thing they're sticking in expensive cosmetics now. And what it is it is a derivative of a deep water fish that seems to be like an antifreeze that the fish creates for itself so that they don't, you know, freeze to death underwater. And I don't know, I didn't read that deeply to find out why it's supposed to do what it's supposed to do, but it's supposed to like fill up wrinkles and blah, 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 all that crap that these things never do. But I thought it was so funny. Fish plasma protein, I just had to get it. And I used it today, and it did actually kind of poof up. I woke up this morning with a new wrinkle, right? The new wrinkle is this deep one right here. Woke up with it this morning. Brand new. And it did kind of plump up my deep wrinkles, so whatever. But I thought it was kind of funny. So that was that. That's not all I bought. I also bought a bunch of candy. And I wish I could show you yesterday's video because Tom and I are, you know, we're going down the junk food aisle at Dollar Tree ripping candy off that shelf as fast as, you know, as if it were free. I'm ripping that shit down. And he's poking around, looking at a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I'm, yeah, I'll take those, and yeah, I'll take those, and I want some of those, and I want some of those. And hey, Tom, grab some of those while you're down there. So I came back with sugar babies, several different kinds of probably really bad for you cookies, Red Hots, which I adore, and some other, oh, I know, those poofy candy canes that you can chew up. They're kind of like soft candy canes. They were left over from Christmas, I'm sure. Oh, they were marvelous. Are marvelous. I have more. And then a bunch of crappy cookies and shit. So, yeah, that was kind of funny. Well, it was sad more than anything else, but, you know, you guys would have thought it was funny. So, that was yesterday. All right, today has been pretty much Mom just wanting pain meds constantly, every 5 minutes, and then wanting to go to the hospital because she's still in pain, and I know that's not what's going on. And I sat down and I told her, hey Mom, you know what? You know what's going to happen if you go to the emergency room today, Saturday, beginning of the summer? Let me tell you. And I walked her through all the stuff that's going to go down. It's like you're going to leave that place still in pain. You're under a doctor's care. They're not going to give you any narcotics because you've got a bladder infection if you do, which you don't, because her doctor already told her she didn't. And I said, look, Mom, I already put you back on antibiotics just in case, even though you don't, you know, I know you don't have a bladder infection. You're taking all your meds that you're supposed to take. You're taking them on the schedule you're supposed to take them on. And more than this we cannot do. Not until Tuesday when you see your doctor again. So it's really been wearing on me. So I decided that the best way to handle that sort of stress would be, well, first I ate, and that didn't work. So then I thought, well, maybe I'll just come here and talk to you guys because you always make me feel better. So now, with that long rambling introduction, I'm going to do the, I think it's called the Why Am I Fat tag. I think it's called the Why Am I Fat tag, that I was tagged to do by Emily Pound, by Gaby over at her channel is called Emily Pound, and she also has several channels. I never mentioned the other ones. She has Emily Pound, Tarot Wonderland, which I love that because she does weekly readings and she's really fun and she has these beautiful cards and blah blah. And Film Chick is another one that she does. She does a lot of. She lives in Toronto. I mean, that is, film festival, ground zero essentially. So she went to. I think she just went to a film festival. Anyhow, check out her channels. They're great. But this came from Emily Pound, which is like her vlog channel. Anyway, so there are 10 questions, and here we go. Why I'm fat. What are your beliefs about your weight problem? Why do you think you really have it? That's kind of a weird question. What are my beliefs? I have lots and lots of beliefs. In fact, it's almost too general a question to really answer with any in any direct way, except for to say that I believe that they originated in childhood, not from my parents feeding me when I was angry or genetics or anything like that. Although it might have been genetics. What really happened was that I got put on a weird formula when I was 6 months old. I've talked about this before. I wasn't thriving. I was losing weight. I wasn't, I was becoming a very skinny little baby. And so they put me on this formula that immediately chunked me up. So that right there gave me a propensity for being thick for the rest of my childhood, which I was. And I'll answer more questions about that later. But so that's my belief. It's not, I don't blame anybody. I mean, it just happened, is what it is. And why do I think I really have it? Well, that's like a 3-part answer. And she goes on to ask the questions about that, and so I'm going to go on to the next one. What diets have you tried to heal this situation? Well, pretty much every diet that's ever come down the pike. I mean, everything from 1,200 calorie a day low-calorie diets to low-carb diets to all-carb diets to food-based diets like Right Way Diet Systems, which is like Jenny Craig, or was. I don't think they're in business anymore. I've done starvation diets. I've done Atkins diets where you try to throw yourself into ketosis with a bunch of fats and proteins. And I'm going to talk about that after because I don't tolerate that well at all, and I'll explain why. And I really essentially everything. I've tried paleo. I've tried pretty much everything. So yeah, I can't think of one I haven't tried yet. And that all started in high school. Well, that all started in junior high. Okay, what are your pet peeves and thoughts about thin people? I don't have any. I don't experience thin people as any different than any other people. I don't feel like they're a class of people that acts any different than anybody else. Maybe if I lived in a different country or a different culture, that might be different. I don't know. But what I observe in my world is that thin people are usually children and teenagers. And that once people attain adulthood, especially into their 30s after they've had their first kids and stuff, women, they all put on a few extra pounds. Everybody seems to be chunkier than is portrayed as being what we're supposed to want to be or be. So I don't feel as if I'm dissed anymore by thin people than I am by, or thin adults, let's say, than I am by, regular size or slightly porky or very porky or super size. I feel like I don't perceive it. I don't know. I just don't perceive it. It could be because I refuse delivery on it too. I don't know. But I don't, like, for example, I don't feel uncomfortable if I'm in a swarm of young thin people. I don't feel anything bad. What was your first memory of overeating? You know, I read through these questions at first, and man, some of them I had to think about. That one I really had to think about. What was my first memory of overeating? I thought it was maybe in junior high, but then I thought, no, it was way earlier. And then I remembered. It was the summer I spent at my grandparents' house, which I've also talked about, being, you know, really lonely and having to deal with my grandmother, who has a temper like mine, a real short fuse. She can't handle any stress, couldn't handle any stress. And so I was a real trial for her. And so she would blow up at me, and then she would hand me candy to keep me quiet, or to, you know, soothe her guilt at yelling at me or something, I don't know. So that's when I first started to notice a pattern of overeating that had to do with emotion. So, well, at all, but that it had to do with emotion. And when did I first notice a weight problem? Well, I did not notice that summer that I'd put on, I don't know, 20 pounds maybe. For a child, that was a lot. But boy, I tell you what, when I got off that plane and my parents saw me for the first time, it was the look on their faces. That's when I realized something was wrong. Then I got home, and that's when, you know, I could hear the whispering, what happened to her? Call your mother. You know, this kind of shit. So, yeah. None of your clothes fit. We have to get you some clothes. Oh no. It was horrible. So yeah, that's when it was. It was right when I got home from that trip. What are your parents' beliefs about food? My mother is Southern, and food is a comfort, but my mother is also, yeah, I'm going to say vain. Yeah, she's vain. And being, or trying to stay slender has always been a big deal with her. You know, she weighs in at 115 pounds right now. But most of her adult life, she anywhere from 135 to 155. She's right around 140, just like I was before I gained weight again. So her, she has like an approach denial thing with food, but she's not a binge eater. She was never obese, blah, blah. My father, food has always been associated with comfort and family. He was also not obese. He was not a binge eater. He was a binge drinker, but not a binge eater. When I was growing up, my parents, both of them, they both worked, and my mom was always exhausted. My dad was always gone, so I can't even remember discussing food or thinking about it. I mean, maybe there'd be food on the stove when you got home, or in the refrigerator, or in the oven. Maybe there wouldn't. Maybe you'd have to make yourself a sandwich. Maybe you'd have to get some cereal. Maybe you'd go eat it with a neighbor. Maybe somebody would be cooking something. I mean, you just never knew. There was no dinner time. There was no sitting at the table. There was none of that. Not in our family. We grew up like feral wolf children when it comes to food. What did my parents say to me about food when I was a child? Again, I don't remember us ever discussing it. Even after I came home real porky, I don't remember any like nutrition education, food education, any like here, eat this, not that. It literally, we fended for ourselves when it came to food. So, what are your fears about your weight problem? Well, that I'm not going to be able to overcome it, of course. You know, I'll be on my deathbed, 512 pounds, and I'll be like, God, fuck it. I wish I could have. That was on my bucket list, goddammit. I just didn't get around to it. Shit. So, yeah, not being able to overcome it is my biggest fear. How often do you stop when you're full? And how often do you stop after you're full? I had to kind of think about that. I didn't quite know what it meant. Then I think what it means is, how many times when I'm eating do I stop eating because I feel like I don't need any more? And then how many times after I've eaten do I go back and eat? Okay. I used to eat really, really fast, go back for more until I couldn't stuff anything else down my throat. and then later go back for more. I mean, that used to be how it was. For some reason, I tend to eat a little more slowly now. I tend to leave stuff on my plate for later. The plate goes in the refrigerator. Or the food goes in the takeout box, whatever. But I'm finding more and more I'm not tolerating feeling full as a comfortable feeling. I don't know. That's what makes candy great. I mean, you can get a lot of carbs in real quickly and not fill up. You know, it's a great way to self-medicate. Okay. Am I able to identify when I'm actually hungry or full? Oh yeah, absolutely. I know the difference between actual hunger and that skin hunger you get I get when I'm stressed out. I absolutely know the difference. It doesn't make a difference, but I know the difference, if that makes any sense. And yeah, I can tell when I'm full. I will often still eat because my stomach and my brain aren't at the same aren't dialed into the same position, and that's true for most of us. You know, it takes a good 20 minutes from the time you start eating till the time that first, you know, that first chemical starts to hit your brain and tell you, yes, you are eating, no, you're not starving, you know, you don't have to wolf this down. That's about a 20-minute span. So, I feel that kick in after about 20 minutes, so yeah, I can tell. And as an aside, clearly understand, I am an emotional eater. I eat because I am stressed out or sad or afraid of something, or denying something and I have to face it I don't want to face. And it causes, I'm sure it's all tied up in the biochemistry of fat and because see, fat is an organ. It's not just an inert thing. It is a biologically active thing that has its own set of, you know, hormonal and biochemical reactions of telling you to eat because it doesn't want to be lost, blah, blah, blah. And that whole thing can be set off by stress, as we all know, because we now know about the cortisol thing and all that junk. So my eating and overeating is very clearly tied up in that, at least as far as I can tell. If your reason for carrying extra weight on your body is a form of protection, what might those reasons be? Oddly worded, strange syntax, but I know where you're going with that. Form of protection. Well, it certainly wasn't when I was young. It wasn't through high school. I did manage to get down to, after I hit puberty and attained my adult height, my weight was about 140 to 150 pounds. 142, 43 was a common weight that I would be at 5'3" and 3/4 inches tall. So that's a little thick, but it's certainly not fat by any means. Oh hell, I forgot the question. Oh, so yeah, I remember dieting and you know, really wanting to lose weight and not, I mean, it was very hard for me to do that because by that time I had started the emotional stress eating thing. I don't feel like it was for protection at that point. Then moved away, got married, had a child, and gained 100 pounds. All of a sudden, instead of being 145 pounds, it was 245 pounds. And that was stressful and upsetting, and I would lose down to like 180 pounds, and then I would creep back up. It did this back and forth and back and forth. And somewhere along the way, I started to feel what Gaby was talking about when she mentioned insulation. I started to feel a certain sense of invisibility, like I had for me, it was like having an excuse to not have to perform, you know, at work or anywhere else. I was the fat girl. I was dismissible, so whatever. And there was a lot of safety in that, I guess. I used to think it had to do with men, but you know what? The more I reflect on my feeling of being insulated, the less I think it had to do with men, and here's why. Men never stopped hitting on me at, you know, well, at this weight. It never stopped. It slowed down, certainly, but there are plenty of fetishists out there. There are plenty of men who find themselves surprised to be attracted to, you know, me, the fat girl, and that confuses men sometimes. So it wasn't about protecting me from men. It may have been about protecting me from me. I mean, maybe if I had had more offers, I'd be dead of AIDS right now, or Hep C, or, you know, some other god-awful thing. Who knows? I don't know. So yeah. And number 10. How much time do you think about eating throughout your day, and what are those thoughts? Start again. How much time do you think about eating throughout your day, and what are those thoughts like, if you can name them? All right. Okay. How much time do I think about eating? I don't think about eating. Isn't that interesting? I don't lie around and think about how good ice cream would taste, or oh, I want to go make nachos, or wouldn't it be wonderful tomorrow when I go out to lunch and I can have a hamburger or whatever. I don't think about it. I simply do it. I'll find myself, you know, throwing back something. Today it was sugar baby candies. Without thinking at all. I just don't think. I mean, it's like, it's a limbic system response. Before the thought to eat can reach my gray matter, it has lodged back here in my lizard brain, and I'm scratching and clawing for whatever food I can get, just like an animal. So yeah, I don't have thoughts. That's it. That's all 10. I know that was a bit garbled. But here's the shakeout for me from having read these and answered them. There is definitely a biological process going on with me that causes my body to want to eat primarily sugar carbs when I am stressed, and I have been stressed. I know I was going to tell you about the whole no carb, low carb Atkins thing, ketosis, whatever, where you throw yourself into ketosis. I don't tolerate that well. I know because I have done it for stretches of time, like, I don't know, I think the longest time I did that kind of an eating regime was about 3 months. And it sets up it's this chemical feeling in my body. I can always tell when I'm in ketosis because I feel anxious, I feel nervous, I feel lightheaded, I have a hard time sleeping. I can feel a hunger that's not like an in my stomach hunger, but it's a hunger that I feel in my muscles, if that makes any sense. It's like I can feel it in my arms and my shoulders. It's the strangest feeling. And it doesn't, I could literally sit and eat meat and mayonnaise all day long, and it doesn't matter how much of that stuff I eat, it doesn't make that feeling go away. I don't know what sort of eating regime is going to be healthiest for me. All you guys who've been watching me know I was doing like more of a vegetable and more like a paleo thing a few weeks ago, and that wasn't sustainable for me either. I got to the point where I got more and more kind of emotionally whacked out until I just couldn't do it anymore. And I don't know, I had some crisis and I was back on sugar. Twice now, I've gone to doctors and I've said, look, this is what I think I need. I think I need a PRN, take as needed, anti-anxiety. Like a strong wallop of Xanax or Klonopin or something. I think when I really get anxious, that is the time to smack that anxiety down. Just knock it on its ass and tell myself, okay, give yourself 20 minutes. Take your Klonopin or whatever